Listen, it's almost a new year. And you know what comes with the new year? New Year's resolutions. But I don't believe in those. I believe the new year starts whenever you want it to start. So for us, the new year is gonna start today. You wanna know how to level up. You wanna know how to reinvent yourself, how to rebrand into a new person, and you don't know how. Don't worry, we're in this together. This is my new series where I give you big sister advice. I talk about life stories, all based on real life experiences. My qualifications are I am a 26-year-old girl who has gone through it. Personally, I feel like I've lived 100 different lives in my 26 years, and it would be very unfair of me to keep all of that to myself, because what would have been the purpose of all of that if I don't get to share it with you? If you watch my videos, you know that I've talked about starting a podcast, and it has honestly never resonated with me to start a podcast, but I like the idea of it. I like that I get to speak in front of a camera about certain topics. I love doing that, obviously. I'm a content creator, and even in my vlogs, I do that a lot. So I decided, why not sit in front of a camera and do it in a video format? Because even when I do listen to podcasts, I prefer listening on YouTube. This is what I know, this is how I love to create, and this is how I'm staying true to myself. So welcome to my new series. This has been such a transformative year for me, and I feel like in order to talk about literally anything else, we have to begin with ourselves, and this is what has changed my life and what has helped me become the person that I am today. So I am here to share that with you. In order to even take the first step to reinventing yourself, to change, it is so important to understand that the number one thing holding you back is fear. I feel like I've always had this understanding, but I never wanted to admit it to myself. I always wanted to blame other factors for my lack of change, for my lack of motivation. But truly, all of those things stemmed from fear. I was afraid that I wasn't good enough. I would be afraid that I am in this relationship and I need to settle because I'm afraid that no one will ever love me again. Fear is what paralyzes us. It bounds us to the same place. And for me, the biggest thing has been the fear of failure, the fear of being judged, and simultaneously the fear that I wasn't doing enough. And the truth is that it's all in your head. It's self-doubt, and as much as it sucks to hear, it's an excuse. And you do it because you are trying to protect yourself from the worst, but you are holding yourself back. So what do we do with this fear? I have throughout this journey heard a lot of advice, a lot of great advice. My biggest issue was, okay, fear is holding me back. What do I do about it? What can I do in my everyday life to stop me from having this fear? But listen, fear is growth. Fear is motivation. You're going to use that fear to fuel all of your goals. In order to actually change, you need a system. You can't just talk about it, think about it, and be like, okay, I'm gonna change, because that's not gonna work. You've done it already. You've tried that. It hasn't worked. You are gonna start with understanding and getting to know yourself. This is how you're gonna pinpoint your feelings, your habits, and your exact fears. This is how you figure out who you really are right now and who you're going to become. You are going to make a list. This is my lifeline. This is my journal. This is my fears, my experiences, and who I am and who I want to be. And everything is in this. And personally, I think writing is so important. I have journaled since I was in high school. I have journaled since way before that, but consistently since I was in high school, and even more so this year. And I truly believe in my heart this is how I've gotten everything that I've ever wanted. So the first step is understanding and getting to know yourself. And you're gonna do that by writing a list. You're going to write everything you don't want, and in turn, you're going to make space for what you do want. So quite literally, this is gonna look like bullet point, I do not want this, arrow, what I do want. For example, something that I wrote was, I do not want to keep procrastinating. That is my biggest struggle in this life. I am a lazy girl, and I like getting things done with as minimal effort as possible. However, I feel like that kind of sets me up for failure because I'm also a perfectionist and I like getting things done well. And so when I do things last minute, I am not honoring myself. I am half-assing everything, and the final outcome will be something that I'm not very proud of, but I know that I feel my best when I check everything off my to-do list. Another example would be, I do not want to feel tired every day. So what do I want? I do want to go to sleep earlier. I do want to get 8 hours of sleep. I want to get up early and feel well rested. So I like to get very specific with everything that I don't want and very specific with what I do want in turn. Step 2 is your identity. It is who you want to become. This is the most crucial step, and there are many ways to go about it. You can either do some of these things or you can do all of these things. I think by doing all of them, it's just so much more effective. It speeds up the manifestation process. Your thoughts truly do become your reality, and when you write everything down, it becomes clear to yourself. You're going to quite literally write who the ideal version of yourself is. And you can look at it as an alter ego, but I don't like seeing it that way. I feel like an alter ego is someone that you are sometimes. It's like another version of yourself. I like to see it more as I want to become my most authentic version of myself, and so that is who I am. An easy way to start this practice is to write journal prompts, such as what is currently taking up space in my life? If I was living my dream life, what would that look like? What do I need more of in my life? And who do I want to be for myself? You have to change your identity, and that doesn't mean being someone you're not, because I feel like a lot of times that can be confusing, and I have learned this through the years of practicing this. I don't want to be somebody that I'm not, and I'm not going to fake a different personality, but in a way it is kind of fake it till you make it, and that's literally my life motto. For example, I want to be a more outgoing person, so I'm going to be a more outgoing person. I'm going to take the opportunities to go out, and when I'm out, I'm gonna strike up conversations, and I just want to radiate that energy, because the more you practice it, the more true to yourself that will feel. After all of those prompts, I also like to write a dedicated page on I am. And this is my ideal version of myself. How do I dress? What do I do every day? How does my week look? How's my health? How are my finances? What do I spend my money on? Who do I spend my time with? How do I spend my free time? And then comes the hardest step, in my opinion, which is step 3, taking action. It's probably the hardest because you have to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. It's the entire reason we're doing this. And I think by writing everything down and making it so clear, you're keeping yourself in check. You're only gonna be doing yourself a disservice if you ignore everything you wrote down. You already wrote everything down, you know who you wanna be, and that is only a very small part of the process. You have to take action. So now you know the person you wanna become, you know the identity you want to transform yourself into, but now what? Now you need to change your mindset. Now you need to put what you want into action. So you're going to identify what you want, and you're going to pinpoint the action you need to take in order to get there. So I already identified I want to be less tired every day. And what do? I'm gonna get more sleep. But how do I get more sleep? The action would be to set a bedtime. I want to be in bed at a certain time. I want to put my phone down, and I want to read a chapter of a book before I go to sleep. Because it's very easy to say, I want to be less tired, so I'm gonna get 8 hours of sleep, but you don't really know how to put that into action. Another example is I want to be healthier. So what is the action? The action is, well, tomorrow I'm going to get a gym membership, and I'm going to start by going to the gym every day for at least 20 minutes. Because as much as we want to change, we make it so hard for ourselves. And I think the problem is we want to do everything at once. This isn't something that happens overnight. I have never been disciplined enough to be like, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna go to the gym for an hour, I'm going to eat 3 meals, I'm gonna eat so much healthier. Like, that doesn't work. You're going to burn out. Yes, I do know who I want to become, but I also need to be so real with myself. I already wrote all of it down. Now I take it day by day, but I need to take action every day. And that doesn't mean you need to go network every day. That doesn't mean you need to go on a date every day because you want to find love. But it does mean you need to do something every day to become that person. And that's how we fake it till we make it. Because the thing with taking action is that you have to take action. It's not enough to write it down. Now you have to follow through. A big thing that helps me, like I've mentioned, is to-do lists. This is something that I can do every single morning, and I honor myself by crossing off everything on my to-do list, such as I will get a gym membership, I will go to the gym for 20 minutes, I will make an appointment, I will pay this bill. This is how I build the confidence to do bigger and bigger things. Otherwise, I am stuck in my own head. I put myself in a box and I don't get anything done because of fear. It's kind of like habit stacking. I will do a load of laundry every day and fold it, and that way I don't get overwhelmed with everything else and I can handle other things. Again, change doesn't happen overnight, but if you don't start now, it's never going to change. You will never see that change. You're always going to be stuck being the same person that you are right now. And the last and most important step is to stop giving a f. I have a very long history of giving too many f. I've always had this deep fear in me of being judged, and that is just based on personal life experiences, and it has taken me many years to unlearn that. I have always been a very shy, very reserved person, so starting my YouTube channel was very shocking to a lot of people. I don't think many people from my hometown expected it, and I was a teen mom, which was an even bigger deal, but just the fact that I was really putting myself out there so publicly was crazy to many people, and I got a lot of messages, and that was, I feel like, such a turning point in my life because I truly honored myself in that moment. However, I think because I've been on the internet for so long, I have developed a fear once again of being judged because I have gained an audience on the internet, and with that comes a lot of judgment. And I try to tap into my younger self, the one that decided to start a YouTube channel and put myself out there and not give a f. I want to become that person. I already was that person, and I know that I can be that person again and even better. And this year has consisted of a lot of self-reflection, a lot of questions as far as to why do I care so much? Because caring about other people's opinion has only put me in a box, and that is my responsibility. You have been told your entire life you're a certain person and this is who you need to be, and you are letting that consume you. And I thought I needed to be this person, and I started resenting my success because I kind of started to feel like I was playing a character and not letting myself evolve. I think the beginning of my healing journey started when I came out, and I didn't even know it back then, but that was the beginning of me being my authentic self, my most authentic self. Because through that experience, I realized that if I don't have my own back, no one else will. And to stop giving a f, it doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It doesn't mean you don't empathize. It just means you are your most authentic self. This is a system you will need to create and stick to every single day. It takes a lot of self-reflection, but it's not impossible. And for me, this created a lot of routines. I stopped feeling less like I was just floating through life and more like I have control. I started prioritizing my alone time and also more wholesome moments with my friends instead of partying. I learned that I love hosting. That was a very shocking thing for me to learn because I've always considered myself an introvert, and as much as that is true, it is part of who I am, I also love socializing. I love having friends. I love making people happy. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that I brought some value into your life. I cannot wait for this new series. Let me know what else you guys want me to talk about, and I love you so much.